Hello, my name is Chris. Welcome to the Proof Brew Pub, and today we're going to be making our margarita. So to start out with, we're going to do 1.5 ounces of tequila, preferably Blanco. Then we're going to add 0.5 ounces of agave. You can also use simple syrup, a lot easier to find at home. And to finish this drink off, we're going to use 1 ounce of fresh squeezed lime juice, fresh squeezed lemon juice, and then 1 ounce of triple sec. Add your ice to your shaker. Give it a nice shake. Stay for about 15 seconds. Serve over ice. And apply whatever garnish you would like. And that right there is the Proof Margarita.
Three, four.
Welcome to the Exoneration celebration. My number is 1980.
Welcome to the Exoneration celebration. We really appreciate you guys attending. My name is Dean McKee. I spent 30 years in prison for a wrongful conviction.
Welcome to the Exoneration celebration. My name is Robert Dubois. I was exonerated on August 27, 2020.
My name is Derek Williams, and I've been exonerated of the Innocence Project of Florida for 11 years.
Welcome to the Exoneration celebration. My name is Paul Hildwin. I was released March 9th, 2020, after spending 35 years for a crime that I did not commit.
Welcome to the Exoneration celebration. My name is Jamie Bain. I appreciate for y'all being involved with the Innocence Project of Florida.
Welcome to the Exoneration celebration. My name is Stephanie Spurgeon, and we're all glad to have you.
Good evening. I'm Seth Miller, the Executive Director of the Innocence Project of Florida, and I'm coming to you live from the historic Bradfordville Blues Club in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm so pleased to welcome you to the 2021 Exoneration celebration. This last year has been a challenging time for our community, our nation, and our world. The pandemic has disconnected so many of us and caused so much pain. Yet, while many of us were fortunate enough to remain healthy and to find continued stability, the pandemic increased uncertainty for our wrongfully convicted clients and their families. Through it all, IPF has remained a constant force advocating for the wrongfully convicted. The courts were hardly operating. Our ability to investigate cases and visit our clients was diminished. Yet, we were able to have our most successful year in our 18-year history, where we freed 5 innocent individuals since the beginning of the pandemic. We freed Leonard Cure, who spent 16 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. We helped free Stephanie Spurgeon and Amanda Brumfield, who each spent 8.5 years in prison for crimes they didn't commit. We helped free Robert Dubois, who spent 37 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. And just this past March, we helped free Jimmy Yates, whose conviction we overturned twice in 10 years, and we got him out on March 11th after 20 years in prison, wrongfully incarcerated. Tonight, you'll meet some of these folks and many other individuals who make up the 26 innocent people who IPF has helped free. And we'll meet other individuals, all innocent, who we've helped integrate back into society since their wrongful conviction and incarceration ended. Our theme for tonight's program is solidarity in action. That concept is infused in every bit of this program tonight and is the foundation of our daily work. None of our success, nor the success of our clients post-release, is due to the work of any single person. It's due to a constellation of people and organizations, even some prosecutors, who are committed to truth, freedom, and justice. It truly takes a village. And you, our supporters, people who care deeply about fostering a more just society, are an indispensable part of that village. Without you, it's unlikely that you'd see many of the faces of innocence you'll meet this evening. Without you, justice and truth would not have prevailed. So while you're listening to the compelling stories in this program, enjoying the live music of 21 Blue, or if you're moved by our awards ceremony or our keynote speech by civil rights attorney Ben Crump, think about all the energy and time and financial resources it takes to restore the freedom of even just one innocent person. And think about how you can continue to invest in this fight to right wrongful convictions by furthering your financial support for the Innocence Project of Florida and our work tonight and going forward. Now, I urge you to visit our virtual silent auction tonight. Throughout the program, we'll put up a square QR code on your screen, and you can simply point your camera app on your phone at it. It will bring up a link, and you can click on it, and it will take you to our virtual silent auction. If you're not watching on your phone, we'll also put the link in the chat of this cast, and you can simply put it in your browser and go check out the auction. There, you'll be able to bid on interesting experiences like a half-day dinner boat cruise on the Sarasota Bay, really wonderful Caribbean trips, and also great hotel stays. And you'll be able to purchase exclusive IPF swag boxes while supplies last. You can also contribute to our work in this cause by simply donating at our website, www.floridainnocence.org. You can also point your phone at a donation QR code that we'll put up all throughout this program, your camera, in order to get that link and get to our donation page. Or you can simply text the word IPF Gala to number 41444. Every dollar is an investment to help us secure a new life in freedom for an innocent person this year in 2022 and beyond. So sit back, have a Liborita or two, enjoy your favorite snacks, and enjoy the exoneration celebration. Now I'd like to introduce the chair of the Board of Directors of the Innocence Project of Florida, Adele Stone, for an introductory message from her and other members of our board.
Good evening, and welcome to the Exoneration Celebration, the signature event for the Innocence Project of Florida. I am Adele Stone, the chairperson of the Board of Directors. We have a special event in store for you, but first allow me the personal privilege of some remarks. What motivates me, a real estate attorney from Fort Lauderdale, to be involved with the Innocence Project of Florida? Quite simply, but of course not so simply, it's about the 26 innocent men and women who the Innocence Project of Florida has freed, who collectively spent more than 550 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. Now digest that number while we remind ourselves that there are men and women who are still in prison waiting to find freedom, with families of these individuals who spent years doing everything they could to help their loved ones freed from a confinement that never should have occurred. My earliest introduction to the Innocence Project of Florida was at a Miami event where I met exonerees James Bain and Bill Dillon. James was 18 when he was imprisoned and spent 35 years wrongfully incarcerated. Bill was 21 when he was imprisoned and spent 27 years wrongfully incarcerated. Both were ultimately released because of DNA evidence procured by the Innocence Project of Florida, which proved their innocence. But these two men lost the best, most formative years of their lives, but were nevertheless resilient and positive in their outlook, and they have been so instrumental in helping us raise public awareness of wrongful convictions. These men and other exonerees I've met over these last years have inspired me to support the Innocence Project of Florida in every way possible so that we can help others find the same freedom the exonerees now enjoy. It is not an overstatement to say that this organization literally restores people's lives. Now, not surprisingly, the last 15 months saw an unprecedented shift in how the Innocence Project functioned. Courts hardly operated, cases slowed down, staff was not allowed to visit its incarcerated clients, and the way we interact with you, our supporters, changed. But throughout these months, we all, the wrongfully incarcerated, our Innocent Project board and staff, and all of you, our supporters, came together. Despite the challenges posed by the pandemic, the Innocence Project of Florida was able to free 5 more innocent men and women. But as dedicated as Seth Miller, our superhero executive director, and his staff are, we certainly could not have done any of this without you, our loyal supporters. And while we haven't been able to come up to you with hugs and handshakes in recent months, Consider this entire evening a reflection of our gratitude for your continued commitment to our mission. For those of you who are new to the Innocence Project of Florida, I think, and I certainly hope, that at the end of this evening, you will find inspiration from our organization, which has freed 26 wrongfully convicted men and women, and that you will choose to support our continued efforts to free every man and woman in Florida who is serving a sentence for a crime they did not commit. Tonight, you are going to see the faces and hear the voices of many of the men and women who were the recipients of the Innocence Project of Florida's vital legal assistance. You'll hear stories of how many thought they would simply languish in prison before the Innocence Project championed their cause. You'll hear from others who have made it part of their philanthropy to bolster the Innocence Project's efforts to free the wrongfully convicted. But we'll also enjoy live music, a drink-making demonstration, and other entertaining offerings. Thank you all for joining us this evening in this virtual space. We look forward to a time when we can see you in person for those hugs and handshakes. And now, here is a message from our directors. Good evening, and welcome to the Exoneration Celebration, the signature event for the Innocence Project of Florida. I am Adele Stone, the chairperson of the board of directors. We have a special event in store for you, but first, allow me the personal privilege of some remarks. What motivates me, a real estate attorney from Fort Lauderdale, to be involved with the Innocence Project of Florida? Quite simply, but of course not so simply, it's about the 26 innocent men and women who the Innocence Project of Florida has freed, who collectively spent more than 550 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. Now digest that number while we remind ourselves that there are men and women who are still in prison waiting to find freedom. The families of these individuals who spent years doing everything they could to help their loved ones freed from a confinement that never should have occurred. My earliest introduction to the Innocence Project of Florida was at a Miami event where I met exonerees James Bain and Bill Dillon. James was 18 when he was imprisoned and spent 35 years wrongfully incarcerated. Bill was 21 when he was imprisoned and spent 27 years wrongfully incarcerated. Both were ultimately released because of DNA evidence procured by the Innocence.
Thank you for joining us for the 2021
Exoneration Celebration. My name is Ellen Podgore.
My name is Mike Dutko.
James Perry.
Michael Minerva.
Karen Gottlieb.
Jerry Berry.
Neil Sonnet.
Derek Bird.
David Barksdale.
Mark Schlackman.
Sean Patterson.
We are members of the Innocence Project of Florida's
board of directors.
We are thrilled to have you with us
for our first virtual gala.
The ongoing effort to find free
wrongfully convicted people,
aid them in transition to freedom,
prevent future wrongful convictions,
is made possible through support from
advocates and donors like you.
For 18 years,
the Innocence Project of Florida has been dedicated
to carrying out this mission.
And it has never been more critical than now.
During the past year, the pandemic has given all of us a greater appreciation for community.
Acting together toward a common cause
and exercising our collective power
in order to improve the world around us.
Together, we can work
to right wrongful convictions
and improve our criminal legal system going forward.
Today, we are excited
to tell you about our successes over the past year
and the organizations and allies who have worked beside us
in these challenging times to bring innocent people home from prison.
It's this power of solidarity in action that
will ensure a more just society.
We are asking for your support so we can continue to work toward freeing the innocent.
Thank you for joining the Exoneration Celebration. We hope that you enjoy.
Welcome to the Exoneration Celebration. So when my case was picked up, it was initially introduced to someone within the Wisconsin Innocence Project who had dealt with cases similar to mine previously. And then the Florida Innocence Project was trying to branch outside of DNA and into those non-DNA type of cases that were still scientific evidence, though. Kate Judson from the Wisconsin Innocence Project actually contacted Seth Miller with the Florida Innocence Project to collaborate and actually work on my case as the first non-DNA case for the state of Florida. So they just kind of worked together, poring over the documents and all of my just my entire caseload. So it was kind of nice to have someone who had already dealt with that side of it, bringing it to someone who's branching out into a non-DNA situation. It's not as cut and dry, and you have to delve a little deeper. So whenever you have an agency who has dealt with this before, they can give that beneficial knowledge that they've actually had to learn, over time, instead of this new agency who's coming in and doing the same thing. They're not having to go through all those initial, pains of learning, how to go from a different direction. So they really just kind of worked together and opened up a door to help in another state. It absolutely opens a door to multiple areas where forensic science can be faulty. And I've said before, where when it's convenient, you'll hear experts talk about fact, but science is based on anything being possible. So I think that this really opens the door for those who experts relied on any type of forensic evidence. It gives an opportunity to really see that just because it's not DNA, that does not mean that there's not a way to research and see that you have an innocent person sitting in prison based on false science, because then it became very black and white. It has to be this or that, instead of actually delving into what were the factors that were surrounding it, and what is the scientific evidence, and what are the possibilities. I personally, as well as my family, would like to thank those who have given their time as well as their own resources to help in the exoneration and freedom of myself and many others who have been wrongfully incarcerated. But there are still so many that are left incarcerated and in need of help. And there are so many out there who have either financial resources or other resources that are desperately needed, and they're greatly appreciated. Freedom to me is time with my family.
6, 7, 8, 9. And there it goes.
Because we have been so heavily focused on collaborative justice, we decided to give out a new award this year called the Success in Freedom Award. And we're giving it to a person who has committed themselves to ensuring that folks released from wrongful incarceration have the best possible chance to positively reintegrate back into society and to find stability and happiness. This year, we are so happy and proud to give the Success in Freedom Award to Dorothy Bort, our colleague at the Sunny Center in Tampa, Florida. Please enjoy this video presentation to Dorothy and these wonderful thoughts by her colleagues and clients who have worked so closely with her.
Dorothy, this is to you. I want to thank you for all that you did for me, picking me up from the airport on the first day, bringing me here, talking to me about the thing I had made up my mind before I even got here. This is where I wanted to come. I thank you for that, Dorothy. I thank you for helping me out, getting my finances together and everything together. And I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate what y'all do for me, but not only me, but for other people in the past that are not here now. I appreciate the Sunny Center. I appreciate the Innocence Project of Florida, but I'm really appreciative.
Dorothy, I can't say enough how much I appreciate everything that you've done and that you still do for me and everybody else here. You are there if I need time to talk. You are there if I just have a question, a random question. All the hard work that you've done since the day I got out, these are things that will never be forgotten by me. Your work means so much to us. You deserve all the credit in the world. You do so much. You do not only the paperwork, help guys with appointments, I mean everything, but you do the maintenance work around here too. I just want you to know that bottom of my heart, deep in my soul, I appreciate you and everything you do for me.
I don't know if I could just say a little bit about Dorothy. Dorothy's very special to me. From day one, she's been by my side pretty much, from August 27 till right now still. So she was with me when I did my first self-checkout. She was with me when I opened my bank account, her and Susan. She was with me when I got my driver's license. People don't realize the things she does. It's not just that she handed me a key to this apartment. To meet her and just see the things she does, and it ain't only me. You know, she's got Paul and Danny and Steven and Clemente, Dexter, you know, so many that she's already dealt with. You know, she does all this for all of them too.
Dorothy is what makes the Sunny Living Center work. Without Dorothy, I just don't know how we would possibly manage. And it's not just because she fills a position, it's because she is the position. She has the heart and the experience and the personality and the will to make it work. And it's mainly because she understands and works from the same place that we do, and that is from love. And so we love you, Dorothy, and we're so very, very grateful that you're with us.
I'm Peter Pringle, and I'm the president of the Sunny Center Foundation Incorporated. Dorothy is an absolutely wonderful person, and she has all of the skills and requirements necessary to do the work that she does. And she's made up of, she can be compassionate and kind and tough whenever necessary, and she's knowledgeable and totally coherent in what she does. And I've come to love her dearly. She's a very kind, decent person, and we're blessed to have her there in Tampa to coordinate and be there for the Sunny Center. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Lance Scriven, and welcome to the Exoneration Celebration. We are coming to you from Tampa this evening, and I have the distinct honor of being a member of the board of directors of the Innocence Project. We all know about exonerations and the joy we experience when there's a person who is freed after being wrongfully convicted. But what we don't consider frequently is what happens after that moment. That is where many things come into play, and one of those is the Sunny Center. The Sunny Center is a transition home here in Tampa where our exonerees receive a lot of social support, housing, and just basic things we take for granted, such as learning how to drive, learning how to use a cell phone, learning how to shop for groceries, things that they didn't know how to do, having been incarcerated for so long. Tonight we have the honor of recognizing the person who is the program coordinator for the Sunny Center. Her name is Dorothy Bort. Dorothy quietly and without any fanfare makes the Sunny Center work. She is the fuel that drives that entire engine. And I'm so pleased tonight to present this award to her in honor of her service for Sunny Center. This is the first inaugural Success and Freedom Award, and it is presented to Dorothy Bort, and it reads, "For exemplifying kindness and perseverance in service to freed innocents, and for going above and beyond the call of duty to ensure their success after wrongful incarceration." this 10th day of June, 2021. Thank you very much, Dorothy. Congratulations.
So this is your award.
Oh my goodness. Success and Freedom Award presented to Dorothy Ford for exemplifying kindness, perseverance, and service to free innocence, for going above and beyond the call of duty to ensure their success after wrongful incarceration. That's really, really nice. I'm shocked. I'm very surprised. Thank you very much. Yeah, you know, when I started, probably as all of us, we had no idea what it was going to be. You know, we kind of had a thought that we would be able to, as the Sunny Center, you know, Sunny and Peter and myself being, you know, on the ground in Florida, we had a feeling that, you know, if we could just provide a safe place to land, you know, in the beginning, that would be amazing. We know that there is not another place in the U.S. like this, and probably other countries as well. So it was a really big venture, and lots of obstacles along the way. But I think that we've really spent the time and energy to make it a good program, and to hopefully give people that start that we felt was missing. And that was just to have a support person right there, kind of like on your team, like 24/7. And that's kind of like what this started out. And as I watch each of the residents and the people that don't live there as well, as I watch them grow, and as I watch them move on and start their life, you know, it's really, it makes me feel really, really good to just be a part of that. You know, like you said, it's huge. The people that work to get them out, their families, you know, there's lots of things that happen after the fact. And this is just a very small part. And I'm really glad that we were able to just start this program. I do want to do one shout out to Anthony Scott, who has been the most amazing support person for me. I can never say enough about him. He's just on point, and he's on board with everything. Anytime you call, he's just there. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm really thankful.
It is important to support and fund organizations like the Florida Innocence Project, because there are still innocent people in prison, regardless as to what maybe the population thinks. There's innocent people in there, and they don't have a voice without your support. Without those funds, this job can't be done. And the attorneys at the Florida Innocence Project, they need those funds in order to be able to move things forward. You can't do it without it.
Hello again. Our success this past year was rooted in our efforts to collaboratively obtain justice for our innocent clients. In the past year, we've secured exonerations as a result of collaborative investigations and resolutions with independent units within prosecutors' offices called conviction integrity units. And these are designed to identify and resolve cases of wrongful convictions and work with people like us, the Innocence Project of Florida, to obtain justice and relief for these clients. These units currently in Fort Lauderdale and Jacksonville and Tampa and Orlando have been critical to achieve justice more quickly and efficiently for innocent individuals. In one partnership project with the Broward County State Attorney's Office and local defense attorneys, we were able to work together to free 24 nonviolent drug offenders who are laboring under harsh, unjust sentences. And we did this project because justice demanded it. We also have consistently collaborated with other justice organizations like the Innocence Project in New York, the Exoneration Project out of Chicago, and the Center for Integrity and Forensic Science in Wisconsin in order to achieve freedom for 4 innocent clients in the past year. And we have ongoing collaborations with local service providers and reentry organizations like the Sunny Center in Tampa, who you've already heard about, to assist our clients to gain stability in their newfound freedom. This next video highlights these partnerships and the importance of collaborations in achieving justice. We hope that you enjoy these videos and understand that justice and freedom and post-release stability for our clients can only be achieved when we do it together.
So I think you have to think about all the outside organizations that can help the Innocence Project and work with the Innocence Project as part of a collaboration.
Well, the way my exoneration came about was through the collaboration of the Innocence Projects of New York, Florida, and the Tampa, Hillsborough County DA's office.
I have 3 different Innocence Projects supporting me.
I have actually had 2 teams, IP in New York, and then I had the IP in Florida.
So they collaborated with the Innocence Project, Susan Friedman, in providing evidence to prove my innocence.
I don't know that I would be sitting here today if I didn't have all 3 of them working in conjunction with each other. What exactly each of them did, I don't know, but I know that it took a team to be able to set me free. It was not an easy process. They were able to overturn it in the higher court, and that was unbelievable.
I just have to say that we get so much more done when we work together, when we combine our resources and our knowledge and our energy. We can get so much more done, and there's so much more that needs to be done. And together we can make that happen.
And between the Innocence Project of Tallahassee, New York, and the CRU, I was exonerated in 2020.
With the organizations working together, it makes it a lot more easier to acclimate back into the world.
It's so much easier if everybody works together. After all, we're not in competition with each other. We're all trying to do the same thing. And so to do that in combination is so much easier and more beneficial than working in isolation.
I mean, other collaborations I think about here in Tampa, for example, the Conviction Integrity Unit. It makes a big difference when a prosecutor recognizes that there have been mistakes done in the past. And if you can get them to realize those mistakes and move towards change and help individuals who have been wrongfully convicted, we start moving forward and we start getting a criminal justice system that really means something and that is a true criminal justice system.
Oh, I would love for people to donate because that's one of my main goals now when I travel with them, to encourage people, mainly people's not in my shoes. It ain't gonna do no good to talk to the Innocence Project. They have to talk to us because we wear the shoes. And wherever I go and whoever I get in front of them, I try to intrigue them to help them out. Churches, school, wherever. I tell them to donate to the Innocence Project of
Events like this are not possible with people and entities that step up to sponsor our work. Now, we'll introduce all of our sponsors for this event throughout the program, but I wanted to give some special attention to our most consistent and largest sponsors who have made the most generous investment of $10,000 towards justice and freedom. First, I'd like to thank Chad Prusson and his company, Any Lawsuits, for his consistent support of what seems like all of our events, and for additionally supporting our monthly legal research needs at IPF, which helps us do our casework. Chad has been a dedicated supporter of our freed clients and their path to stability and freedom. Thank you to retired Justice Harry Lee Anstead and Sue Anstead. Harry is a former IPF board member, and he and Sue have continued their consistent, deep support of IPF beyond Harry's board service. Your support is so meaningful to us. Thank you, Harry and Sue. Thank you to the Pursuing Justice podcast and former IPF board member, Harriet Hendel. Harriet is both one of our most ardent financial supporters and also one of the greatest advocates for raising awareness about wrongful convictions. Her educational work and her podcast have been a beacon for those trying to learn about wrongful convictions. Thank you so much, Harriet. We love you. And lastly, thank you to IPF Board Treasurer Karen Gottlieb and her husband and our outside counsel for IPF, Elliot Shirker. As Board Treasurer, Karen oversees the finance and development for IPF on behalf of our board. And this gift is a true demonstration of her leadership. Thank you, Karen and Elliot. Now, I've just been told that our total fundraising so far for this event is just under $118,000, which is huge. We're still short of our goal, so you can help us reach our goal to invest in the work we're doing to free wrongfully convicted people by bidding on the wonderful items in our silent auction. And you can also contribute directly to the cause by going to our website and contributing there. You can text IPF Gala to the number 41444, or hit any of these QR codes to either bid on the auction or donate as they come up on your screen throughout this event. Remember that every dollar that you donate is an investment to help secure a new life and freedom for innocent people in 2021, 22, and beyond. And now again, sit back, smash those donate buttons, and enjoy the musical stylings of Blues for the 21st Century, otherwise known as 21 Blue, live here at the historic Bradfordville Blues Club in Tallahassee, Florida. Take it away.
The Innocence Project of Florida means to me a voice, because for a long time, nobody wanted to hear my voice. Things turned around for me when Seth stood up and put words to my voice, and they listened to him. In the whole Innocence Project and what they do, you guys gave voice to words that they would not let me speak because it didn't fit their narrative. And when people donate to the Innocence Project, they're giving a voice to somebody that they muzzle, they want to keep quiet and just shut the fuck up. A voice, that's what the Innocence Project is to me.
Collective struggle, both in our work at IPF and in our society more broadly, is one of fighting in a system that has a history of persecuting and displacing innocent individuals through wrongful conviction and incarceration. Wrongful convictions acutely affect communities of color, particularly black men, as more than half of those known cases of wrongful convictions are cases of black men being charged, prosecuted, and convicted for crimes of others. The fight against systemic racism and for racial justice is the fight of our time, and few are as firmly rooted within that fight than our keynote speaker tonight, Attorney Benjamin Crump. Ben is an IPF board member and a great friend to our project. We were lucky to catch up with him at his office just a few weeks ago to capture a great keynote speech and the short discussion that followed. I now turn it over to renowned civil rights attorney, Benjamin Crump.
Good evening. I'm attorney Ben Crump, and I am honored to be a proud board member of the Innocence Project of Florida. I am always extremely proud when I see the great efforts of Seth Miller, the executive director, and all of the administration. And regardless of whether they ever write in the newspaper about the miraculous exonerations, I remember what my grandmother taught me, and that is you don't do a thing for the result of it. You do it because it is the right thing to do. And so I want to say to my friend Seth Miller and the great staff that he has at the Innocence Project of Florida, thank you for always doing the right thing. I would be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge the great board of directors who I serve with. Our board chair, Adele Stone, a lawyer who her entire professional career, she has been making a difference. And certainly to our immediate past chair, my lawyer, attorney Brian Tannenbaum. I'm so grateful to your leadership on the board of directors, making sure that we continue to provide a voice for the voiceless in the most dire of situations. Obviously, you all have come to know me for fighting for the least of these, as my grandmother called them, as she makes reference to the biblical passage. Those who have been marginalized and trivialized and disenfranchised, mostly poor black people who have lost their most fundamental right, their most fundamental constitutional right, and that is the right to life, at the hands of those very people who were supposed to protect and serve them. And this year, we saw the conviction of Derek Chauvin for killing George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota on May 25th, 2020. And I pray that that will represent a new precedent in America, where we start to live up to our high ideals when we say liberty and justice for all. Not just liberty and justice for white people, but liberty and justice for black people, liberty and justice for Hispanic people, liberty and justice for Native people, liberty and justice for Asian people, liberty and justice for us all. That is what we strive for, to make America be the more perfect union that the Founding Fathers wrote about. Now, I have to tell you, my heart is sometimes broken when I think about what we have in writing versus our reality. When I think about in 2020, this past year, and we think about this unprecedented time where we were enduring a global pandemic and everything was shut down in America, seems like, except implicit bias and police brutality. And so I hoped, after this unprecedented year where we saw Ahmaud Arbery be lynched for jogging while black in Brunswick, Georgia, not in 1940 and 1950, but in 2020, where we saw Breonna Taylor be executed in her own home after the Louisville Metropolitan Police busted open her front door at 1 o'clock in the morning, illegally and unconstitutionally and unnecessarily, and mutilated her body with 6 bullets while that young black woman was practically naked in her nightgown. And then we saw George Floyd literally be tortured to death by police officers who offered him no consideration, no professionalism, and worst of all, Seth, no humanity. And that is followed by several other young unarmed black men running away from the police in 2020 and still being shot in the back, whether that is Joshua Blake Jr. in Kenosha, Wisconsin, whether it is Trayford Pellerin in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, whether it is Anthony McClain in Pasadena, California, whether it's Joshua Feast in Houston, Texas, whether it is Dijon Kinsey in Los Angeles County, California, whether that is Rayshard Brooks in Atlanta, Georgia, whether it's Andre Hill in Columbus, Ohio. And these are all black men who were running away from the police in 2020. Anthony McClain was trying so hard to get away from the police that he literally, Tannenbaum, ran out of his shoes. And they still shot him twice in the back. And as he was on the ground bleeding, they came up and put their knee in his back. And he said, "Come on, man, call an ambulance. I can't breathe." And what did the officer do? Put him in handcuffs, offering him no consideration, no professionalism, and no humanity, as Andre McClain bled out on the ground. And people in California remembered that sound, "I can't breathe," from what they had heard earlier as George Floyd narrated the documentary of his own death. And so I think about those injustices, and I think about how Derek Chauvin trial was watched by the whole world, because we all saw that video of George Floyd, and once we saw that video, we could not unsee that video in our mind. And so that video galvanized people not only in cities all across America, but it galvanized people in cities all across the world. We had people from every corner of this earth contacting us saying, until we get justice for George Floyd, none of us can breathe. So I say all of that as a preface to this concept of liberty and justice for all, because worse than how they killed George Floyd, worse than how they killed Breonna Taylor, worse than how they killed 12-year-old Tamir Rice, worse than how they killed Pamela Turner, an unarmed black woman outside of Houston, Texas, worse than how they killed Botham Jean in his own apartment eating ice cream, worse than how they killed Philando Castile sitting in the passenger seat with his girlfriend driving and his little baby daughter in the back. Worse than all of that is how they kill our young people in every city, in every state, and in every courtroom every day in America with these trumped up felony convictions. And I do mean trumped up felony convictions. You know, states like Tennessee and Texas have 1 out of every 5 black men labeled as a convicted felon. And that's not very different from our state and many other states in America. This disproportionate number of black men who are criminalized as convicted felons. The experts opine, if this trend continues, that in the next 25 years, 1 out of every 3 black men in America will be a convicted felon. And so what we have to do is speak truth to power, because we know that even though black men only make up 7% of the population in America at most, they are, in many states, making up almost 50% in incarceration in prison and jails. And those numbers are equally horrific on death row. That's why the work of the Innocence Project of Florida is so very important, because I know firsthand how easy it is for a young person of color, especially a black person, to be caught up in the discriminatory, racist criminal justice system. You don't have to take my word for it. Go sit in the back of any courtroom in America and just watch how they administer justice. Look at how they treat young white people versus how they treat young black people. And the vivid distinction would be so apparent how our white brothers and sisters seem to get a slap on the wrist. But oftentimes, marginalized minorities, especially African Americans, are never given the benefit of the doubt, the benefit of consideration, the benefit of possibility. Oftentimes, they are forced into some plea agreement and they are fingerprinted and they are convicted of a felony conviction that they now have to wear like a cross on their backs for the rest of their entire life. And in this information technology age, when you type their name into the system, the first thing that comes up is that they're a convicted felon. And therefore, we know once they're in the criminal justice system, they're likely to be targeted over and over again, given one conviction after another, being profiled in ways that they can't even understand or fathom. And oftentimes, it's that young person who took that plea agreement because they felt trapped, ends up trapped on death row or with a life imprisonment sentence. even though they can be completely innocent. This is the reality. And so we have to speak truth to power every time they try to convince us that our brothers and sisters who have been given these trumped up felony convictions are bad people. We have to reiterate to them every chance we get that we still believe in you, that we still think that you have redeeming qualities to offer society. We still believe God has a plan for you. We still think you're one of the best things your mother and father ever created. We still think that you're going to do tremendous things on this earth, because we have to refuse to let a racist criminal justice system define the existence of an entire generation. And so when they falsely accuse us and wrongfully convict us, thank God for the Innocence Project of Florida to be there to stand up for those without a voice, those who are marginalized and trivialized and disenfranchised. Thank God for my brothers and sisters who don't think it robbery to put their resources, their efforts, their money, saying that this person deserves the due process of the American Constitution. Because that's what we mean when we say for liberty and justice for all. We're talking about you all. You all who the Innocence Project helped to exonerate, to make sure that you had your full constitutional rights that were guaranteed when you drew your first breath as an American. That's who we're talking about. So we celebrate you for having the perseverance, for not giving up on your rights, your birthrights as an American citizen, to say that the Constitution belongs to me too, and that there was somebody at the Innocence Project of Florida who didn't let that plea from you fall on deaf ears. That's what tonight is about. It is a celebration of the spirit of America. The fact that even though an injustice was put before you, justice won out. And that's what it's about when we say with liberty and justice for all. I will say two things in conclusion. They will oftentimes try to tell us it's legal how they discriminate against us and get us trapped in this criminal justice system. But I am always reminded of what Dr. Martin Luther King said when he said, just because they say it's legal, that doesn't mean it's right. He said that everything that Hitler did to the Jews in Germany, they said was legal, but that didn't make it right. He said that slavery was legal, but that didn't make it right. He said that segregation was legal, but that didn't make it right. And brothers and sisters, I submit to you this evening, they will try to say what they did to you was legal, but just know that does not make it right. And there comes a time that we must all take a stand for right. Finally, remember the coward will ask the question, is it safe? Then expediency will ask the question, is it politically correct? And then vanity will ask the question, is it popular? But conscience will ask the question, is it right? And there comes a time when one must take a position that's neither popular nor politically correct or not even right. But there comes a time that one must take a position because their conscience tells them it is the right thing to do. So thank God for the Innocence Project of Florida for always following their conscience and always doing the right thing. We celebrate you all, and we celebrate the great victories of the Innocence Project of Florida that they have achieved in each of your names. God bless you, and continue to fight the power.
Ben, thank you so much for those really special, rousing remarks. I was moved, and I'm just so glad we can be here with you today. So thanks for being here.
I'm glad to be home, buddy.
Yeah, I know. And you know, we've known each other, I feel like a long time now. And in fact, as a point of personal privilege, you know, our kids went to preschool together, so we spent a lot of time out there, you know, at drop-offs and pickups. And so I watched you, you know, transform from what appears like a transformation from a you know, plaintiff's lawyer, successful plaintiff's lawyer here in Tallahassee, to what seems like a national civil rights icon, someone who is the face of a movement to both protect Black lives and bring accountability to government actors in a system that is oppressive towards people of color, particularly Black people. And I want to understand from your perspective if there are, along your career, if there are events or moments that kind of sent you on that trajectory to, you know, be the person you are today.
Well, first of all, I want to talk about what you do, and you know, we're in this struggle together, brother.
We are.
You know, I think everything is what Dr. King said. We all have a role to play in this struggle for equality and justice. So when you talk about accountability, it is so critical that we make the powers to be accountable to the common folk, the regular people, the people who catch the early bus, because they're who need us most. You know, the affluent people are going to be okay. They're going to be able to afford lawyers, and they're going to be able to have the best privileges of their constitutional rights protected. But it's those marginalized people that we fight for, whether here in Tallahassee or whether in Minneapolis or Louisville or in Ferguson, Missouri. Those are the people who are counting on us. And the things I take wherever I go to fight for them is the basic tenets of the Innocence Project of Florida, that we're fighting for justice for those who do not have a voice, just don't have a voice. And how can you make the powerful account to those without a voice? Well, you call them out, you hold a mirror to their face, and that's what you all do every day, and that's what I try to do. So we're in this together, and sometimes cases get a little more attention, but I pray in my heart of hearts that we can give more attention to the wrongful convicted brothers and sisters and citizens amongst us, because there are a lot of ways to kill a person, you know, and to falsely accuse and profile individuals is a way to kill their spirits. Even though they're still living, you take part of their heart when you are put in a little cage and told that society feels you have nothing to offer.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because we always talk about the fact that they take our clients, they've been wrongfully convicted, they send them to far-flung places in Florida, you know, rural places where there's only the prison there. They're far away from their families to marginalize them and separate them from society and dehumanize them. And yet, they persevere.
Yeah.
And so what is most interesting about it, you know, we've had so many clients who have spent 10 or 20 or 30, or now we've had clients who spent more than 40 years in prison for crimes they didn't commit. I'm only 41. We got 2 clients out in 2019 who spent 42 years in prison for a crime they didn't commit.
Longer than you've been on this earth.
Longer than I thought I was done with
exonerating people who had been in prison longer than I'd been alive, but I was wrong. And so I'm always struck by their spirit. And I think there's a parallel, you know, when I see you on TV with the family members of these, you know, these folks who, you know, were gunned down by the police, mistreated by the police, they have a fight too, a fight for justice and accountability. And so, you know, it seems to me there's a lot of lessons that you could take, that you could share with the people who are still fighting to be freed from wrongful conviction, about perseverance that you've learned from, you know, your clients.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because, Seth, oftentimes I'm asked, you know, why do you keep doing it when the obstacles are so daunting, when all the cards are stacked against, you know, you poor, marginalized people of color? And the thing I keep saying is, well, I started off life with a strong black woman who put common sense in me. And what my mother said is, life isn't fair, life is hard. You make it fair by what you bring to the table. And if you don't bring anything to the table, don't expect anybody to let you sit down at the table. And so I think part of the perseverance of many of the wrongfully convicted people, there was some mother or father or grandparent or uncle or aunt who told them, this life gonna be hard because you were not born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You know, you were not born on the right side of the tracks. But no matter what, you gonna be okay. You gonna make it. And that spirit stays in them no matter what the criminal justice system tries to tell them about how your life is over. You are damned. You know, just forget about ever seeing freedom. Now, I keep thinking about my mother. You just bring something to the table and it's gonna work out. Whether that's education, whether you improving yourself somehow while you're put in that cage, treated like an animal, but you still defy all the powers to be that say, no, I'm a human. I have a mind, and you may incarcerate my body, but you cannot imprison my mind. And that's how you persevere.
Yeah, it's so interesting because so many of our clients, you talk about your mother, and so many of our clients, it's the mothers that play the integral role in their entire existence in prison. So many of our clients have lost their mothers while they're in prison, but it's the need to persist and to overcome, to prove something to their mother, right, and the rest of their family, but particularly their mother, that gets them to write that letter to us, and then we find it, and we learn about their case, and we review it, and we say, oh, there's something here, and we move forward. I mean, so many of our clients have nothing. They're poor people.
Yeah.
And I think the important thing about the work that you do, the important thing about the work we do, is that without people stepping in the breach for people who are poor and are marginalized, this wouldn't get done.
Yeah, yeah. And Seth, I just want to, just a word about mothers, Seth. The thing to me that so vividly define how important many of our mothers are to us is what George Floyd said on the video. When he came to the realization that his life was seeping out of his body because the officer would not take his knee off his neck, he called out for his mama, even though she had been dead for 2 years. Because oftentimes your mother is your first protector, she is your first teacher, she is your first instructor of life. And so I think many of the wrongfully convicted citizens who you have the honor of representing, they often think about, what is it in this life that has me in this cage? And they try to go back and think about the teachings of their mother, that first person who tried to teach you the right and wrong of life. And as they sit in a cage, completely innocent, they know this is wrong.
Yeah, I always think about, I've learned so much from my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And have clients who are artists and musicians, writers, all different types of people with all different types of talents, and the lost human capital, right, in prison. And so when I think about changing the carceral system, changing the criminal legal system, I think about the work you're doing as pushing that change certainly faster than it wants to happen. And I think about our cases. You see, we don't see police shooting unarmed people in the back, but what we do see is fabricated evidence, use of unreliable jailhouse, knowing use of unreliable jailhouse informants. We see fabricated forensic evidence, all kinds of government misconduct, and then what do we have to do with that? We have to both get a person out of prison and then hold the system accountable, hold the people accountable, so we can make sure it doesn't happen to people in the future. And I want to just ask your thoughts about, particularly in light of the outcome of the Derek Chauvin trial, how are we doing? I mean, are we seeing a sea change? Is accountability something that we can actually reach, not just justice, or not just accountability, but justice as well?
Well, I think George Floyd's tragic death gave us an opportunity to be able to do something significant in America, and we can't squander this moment because America is finally having a conversation on racial reckoning that they have long tried to ignore. And the fact that they're having this conversation is significant. But, talk is cheap. You have to take action. And so we're fighting to get the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed, which talks about accountability, talks about government misconduct. I was amazed that Senator Tim Scott, who was the senator from South Carolina, the only black Republican, he talks a lot about how Walter Scott, the young man who was shot in the back running away, one of the old videos now because we've seen a lot of them, but it was shocking when we saw the officer aim and shoot the man in the back. But they lied on the police report. And so what he has put forward is to have it be a federal obstruction of justice that can carry 20 years in prison if a police officer falsifies or fabricates an official police report. So hopefully that will not only help have truth and transparency prevail when they use excessive force on yet another unarmed black person, but also when they try to wrongfully convict a person that, hold on, if you lied on this police report, you're going to go to prison for 20 years. So hopefully they won't be so reticent in doing that, and more people won't have to endure a wrongful conviction that, I keep thinking every time we talk about this stuff, Seth, my grandmother, who obviously had a profound influence on my life, she would often say, "What's worse than a lie?" And she said, "That is to tell the truth and nobody believe you." I'm sure you can only just sympathize with so many of your clients who said, "I was always telling the truth, but nobody would believe me."
Every one of them said it.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And so I think about that all the time, Seth, when I think about the great work y'all do. My grandmother said, that's worse than any lie.
Yeah. Ben, I want to thank you so much for your commitment to the organization, Innocence Project of Florida, for your service on our board, and for taking part in this program today. We want to congratulate you on all your work and all the work that you will do in keeping up the fight for liberty and justice for all people. So thank you so much, Ben.
Hey, thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Keep up the work
Yeah.
you're doing.
Thanks.
It matters.
Thank you. And again, thanks, Ben. Thank you to Ben Crump. I hope you all enjoyed that. And we are going to go to some more stories of freed innocent people that we hope you enjoy.
Why it's necessary for people to contribute to places like the Innocence Projects of New York, Florida, the Sunny Center is because without the added support, they can't help people like me. So just think if the supporters they have now had not contributed, where would I be right now? Maybe still there, you know? So I just want them to know their contributions matter. Not just to me, but if they go on the Innocence website, they'll see to many. You know, and it doesn't just stop at exonerating us, getting us freed. They still add support. They help pay rent, provide groceries or gas or whatever you need. They're there all the way through it to help you get up, to help you get back on your feet. I don't know how to stop this thing. I don't know. It just don't work.
No, you just gotta hit it really hard on that side.
Yeah, I know I did. It's this new cover, yeah.
Life proof. That's what they call it.
Yep.
Do you feel life proof?
Yeah, you could say that.
Feel life proof now?
I do now.
The Innocence Project of Florida means to me, in one word, truth.
Love. A voice.
The Innocence Project of Florida means the world to me.
A lifeline.
Determination.
Life.
It means justice.
Our sponsors for this event are so important to us because they help drive our work, and we do need resources to do this work. When our investigator is in the field, our sponsors are with that person. When we are in court making arguments and presenting evidence, our sponsors are with us. And when we're walking an innocent person out of prison after decades wrongfully incarcerated, our sponsors are with us. We could not do this without you, and so we wanted to take this time and recognize out loud all of the sponsors for this event. First, our partner sponsors at the highest level. We have Any Lawsuits, Chad Prusson, the Pursuing Justice podcast run by former IPF board member Harriet Hendel, IPF board treasurer Karen Gottlieb and Elliot Shirker, and former IPF board member retired Justice Harry Lee Anstead and Sue Anstead. Our Justice Fellow sponsor, the law firm of Schutz and Bowen, and I have to mention our board secretary, John Patterson, who's a partner there. Our Justice Allies, board member Ellen Podgore and Cheryl Siegel, the law firm of Buchanan, Ingersoll, and Rooney. Rothman and Associates, with David Rothman, our former board chair there, who has been so instrumental in gathering sponsors and helping with this event. Thank you, David. The law firm of Jones Walker and Manny Cadre. Our Justice Advocate sponsors, our board chair, Adele Stone. Thank you for that wonderful message, Adele, and her husband, Jesse Diner. Lance Scrivenlaw. Lance is our incoming chair-elect. He's our chair-elect. He'll be our next chair of our board of directors. Ufferman Law, former board member Michael Ufferman. The Collection, the Callahan Law Group, Tabaras Law, Sam Zangane, the law firm of Alvarez, Feltman, De Silva, and Costa, the law firm of Fried and Brown, and Lisa and Brian Tannenbaum. Brian was our immediate past chair, and they were our hosts for our last exoneration celebration before the pandemic. And now our Justice Friends sponsors. Justice for Kids, the division of Kelly Cronenberg, the Bird Law Firm, which has Derek Bird, one of our board members, Dana Summerstein, and former IPF intern David Gillis, whose birthday is today, I might add. Jerry Berry Law. Jerry is our former chair of our IPF board. Billy and Todd Ball, who run Countertop Visions, great sponsors for most of our events. Former board member, or current board member Mike Minerva and Joanne Smith. Board member Paula Saunders. The Burton Firm, Betty and Mike Ducko. Mike is a current board member of the Innocence Project of Florida. The law offices of Ducko and Kroll. Eduardo Fernandez, IPF board member David Barksdale, and IPF board member Randall DeFore. We also have a number of in-kind sponsors that we have to recognize. First, Proof Brewing Company here in Tallahassee, Florida, a leader in our craft brewing scene, who made that great video of the Liborita that was so instrumental to the beginning of our event. Elite Island Resorts and Ocean Properties Hotel and Resorts, who donated silent auction items for this event. Our exclusive print and mail company, Target Print and Mail in Tallahassee, Florida. And lastly, the Bradfordville Blues Club, Gary Anton and all his staff here, who have allowed us to make this our home for the evening and given us a stage to have this great music. Thank you so much to the Bradfordville Blues Club. Our virtual silent auction is still open this evening, and you can still bid on the wonderful items by pointing your phone at the QR code when you see it, or by going to the link that is in the cast chat. You can bid on Caribbean trips, hotel stays, a unique half-day boat cruise on the Sarasota Bay, and you can buy exclusive IPF swag boxes while supplies last. Just a note, the auction will remain open through this event and through tomorrow at 5 p.m. on Friday, June 11th. So make sure, and that's Eastern time, so make sure that you go bid, and every winning bid, all the proceeds go to helping to find and free innocent people in Florida's prisons. You can also contribute directly to our cause by going to our website at www.floridainnocence.org, by again pointing your camera at one of our trusty QR codes to make a donation, or by texting IPF Gala to the number 41444. It's important for me to note that we provide all of our assistance to our clients, from the beginning of the case to the walking out of prison, and even beyond, helping people reintegrate back into society. We do that all for free. We don't want the success of our clients, the success of their cases and their transition to be dictated by their wealth. Everyone deserves justice. So every dollar that you spend here tonight supporting our work will go to help these individuals directly and help us fulfill our mission. We hope that you have enjoyed this event. It's our first virtual gala, maybe our last. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope that you've learned from the stories of the innocent folks that you've heard here tonight. We hope that you walk away from this program reinvigorated to further commit yourselves to seeking out truth and freedom and justice in the coming years and beyond. Thank you again to all of our sponsors and to all of you. Because of you, this event was a huge success and will give us a strong foundation as we press forward into the next year to try to find and free innocent people in Florida. Thank you also to our key IPF staff who were critical to putting together this event: Kelly Helm and Sarah Tamati and Emily Thorson, again, who together planned and executed this event. We could not have done it without you guys. I'll say goodbye for now, and we'll leave you with one final music performance from 21 Blue, live from the Bradfordville Blues Club here in Tallahassee, Florida. 21 Blue.
Ready.